I just want to say hi to everybody real quick. So can you see me? Okay.
Yeah, I can see you. I can
Well,
see
thanks,
you.
everybody. I'm going to go in and get started. This is an exciting topic for me. I'm going to go a little bit, what I would say, I'm not going to say slow, but I'm going to go at a pace where I think it's important to pay attention. But you're going to want to take notes of this unless you're taking some sort of screenshots. I truly believe that the information you're going to see today is really the best that I had to go through in my career in the insurance industry. So as a agent, and you are an agent going into the insurance business, or you've been an agent for a while, I think you'll appreciate the information you're going to see or hear on today's Zoom. So thank John. He'll go over a portion of it, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. I got a lot going on today, so I got to try to get this done in a shorter amount of time than I was planning. But if you guys don't mind, take good notes and really pay attention clearly, because I think this is going to be pretty exciting today. Okay, so let's get started. First, hold on here. First, I'm going to go through what I call the life presentation in different directions. John will be talking about this, which I believe is the backbone of your presentation, which is the needs analysis. And I'm going to have John, he'll cover a little bit of this towards the end of the presentation today. Okay, but you're definitely going to want to download that checkup form in the back office as soon as you can when you get to your computer, or if you haven't already. Okay. So we talked about this last week. When I'm at an appointment, a couple things I always want to know is kind of a framework. And I'm going to get really into framework today. In terms of questions that I would ask a customer, I went over this to our first, I think it was our first or second class, John, but it was, what does a person have now? You always want to find out what a husband and wife or the customer has right now. What kind of insurance policy do they have today? What do they enjoy about what they have? Would they alter anything that they have on that policy, or what would they wish they would have had? Maybe they wish they had more death benefit, or wish they would have been explained a little bit more about living benefits, whatever the case may be. Help them make a decision, and then share with them a solution to what they're looking for. Okay, so this is a way to kind of get warmed up when you're talking to the customer. And so I put together what I called a presentation flow. And this is a very important part, in my opinion, of sitting with a customer. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think most insurance agents that are out there today do not have a flow in their presentation. They're not sure which way to go, and they get a little bit lost in what I'm going to talk about right now. So if I could clear that up today, this could help you tremendously. But you got to really listen deep to what I'm going to talk about. Okay, this, I believe it's very, very important. Okay, the first one in the agent presentation is, first, you need to have quality material with you. And I'm going to say that in many different ways. Quality material meaning you got to have a quality notepad. You can't just walk in there like it's just a big mess. You got to have the needs analysis that we shared with you. You got to have brochures of the insurance company with you. You should also have pure sales kits from the insurance company that you're going to be offering inside of your bag or your briefcase or backpack, whatever. You also should have a bio of yourself in material, something that has a picture of you, something that has a phone number, something where they can get in contact with you. The challenge of being an insurance agent is people want to know you're going to be there for the long term, that they could go to sleep knowing that in 5 years, 10 years, you're still going to be in business, so they could contact you with any questions. Having a bio, it helps them read about your background and how serious and engaged you are in the industry. So I would create a bio, short little bio about yourself and why you're in the industry, your address. Definitely got to have business cards. I know agents who do not even carry business cards, and they're going to a customer's house. I don't even know how that even works. You have to have that, and you should have the business cards also inside the kit and any of the brochures if you have to. I know people who will staple their business card onto some of the brochures, so the customer, has to have that card when they're looking at that material. But you got to have quality material, because although it's not technically selling, it's presentation that is also indirectly selling by looking at the quality of the information you're carrying with you in your briefcase. So if you pull it out and it's all broken up, or you pull it out of your briefcase and the pages are ripped, or the ears are folded and it's just a big mess, that alone, it shows a lot of not paying attention to detail. So quality material when you get to the customer's house. Okay. Next is, you got to have and know in your mind What is the value proposition of what it is you are offering? What are you offering? So for example, in IUL, which is pretty much what I consider the flagship product, when I'm sitting with an insurance, when I'm sitting with a client, what is the value proposition of IUL that pertains to this client? Know that in your mind. So if you're on the second appointment and you've done the needs analysis, and now you're sitting with the husband and wife, what are you focusing on? So if you look at what's in front of you, you should use a presentation. So I'm going to put down on the top, you should use the How Money Works presentation, because the intention of the How Money Works presentation is to highlight value, and you have to choose which of those value pertain to your customer. So the How Money Works presentation gives tremendous value of what may intrigue them to want to buy. So it could be the value is protecting their family. It could be the value of preserving their wealth. It could be the value of preserving the estate or building wealth. Or maybe the customer wants tax advantage income, some sort of an income coming in, tax advantage. Imagine retiring with tax-free income. Or maybe the customer's goal is just peace of mind, knowing that they're going to give their family a legacy or leave them a nest egg if something were to happen to them. Like for me, I just want to make sure my family is okay. Believe it or not, the income and the wealth and all that, that's one thing. What more important to me for life insurance is making sure that when I pass on, my kids have a legacy of income that they continue with the same life they have if I'm not here. And my wife could do the same thing, just not with a new husband. Okay, just kidding. Now, so value proposition, you got to have that in your flow. What is the value prop? Knowing that in the back of your mind is a critical piece. Then third, you got to have a powerful story. So ask yourself, do you tell stories in your presentation? You're going to want to work on your presentation skills. So as you're going through the How Money Works presentation, you could give powerful stories that gets the customer intrigued about what you're talking about. Sometimes people just read slides, and that is extremely boring. Sometimes people they don't have any stories, and stories tell. Remember that. Stories that kind of get them excited or kind of get them thinking. Storytelling is very powerful when it comes to selling insurance, because I do this story, you probably heard it before, but one of the stories that I always lean on was a story that if I was hanging out with my wife, and let's say my wife and I are watching a movie at home, and my wife says, "Hey, babe, why don't you go to the grocery store and pick up some champagne? And when you get home, I'll change into something more comfortable," which you know what that means. I get all excited. I jump in my car and I go pick up champagne. I even pick up some strawberries, and I'm on my way. She even calls me when I'm getting my champagne. When I get in the champagne, so, "Babe, how come you're not home yet? Hurry up." And I'm all excited, right, to go home and spend time with my wife. Well, then when I'm driving home, I get hit by a truck, and that truck kills me. Police officer goes to my wife and goes to my home and says, "I'm sorry, but your husband passed away today due to a car accident. I'm sorry to explain that. The truck company that hit you will be contacting you tomorrow to offer you an insurance settlement for the death of your husband." So my wife gets a call the next day from the insurance company of the trucking company. How much should she sue the insurance company for? How much should she ask the insurance company for if I passed away and it was the fault of a truck that hit me? How much would you sue the trucking company if I passed away in that exact same story? Would you ask them for 100,000? Would you ask them for 200,000? Or would you consider asking for millions, 2 million, $10 million? How do you value the value I was to my wife, or the value of any human being? How do you value that? You can't. But it's interesting, if we were going to sue the insurance company for the death for me, my wife were to sue the insurance company for my death, she'd probably ask for over $1 million plus. I think you would agree with that. But if I only bought an insurance policy for 100,000 and I died of a heart attack in the car, not from a truck driver, does my value go down? Do I have the same value to my wife if I died in a car accident from a heart attack I was driving, or if I passed away from a truck driver hitting me? Does my value change? It's just that you could get the money from somebody else. Insurance is storytelling like that, in a sense where doesn't it make sense to overinsure your family and not have to sue somebody in any other situation like that? That's an idea of storytelling. And you may have a different story. Stories that I also use are my parents. They didn't have life insurance and they passed, which was very tough on my family. When my mom and my dad both passed, I didn't have anything to turn to, and it was tough. No one ever sat with them. That in itself, that's a story. So you're going to need to have stories, and powerful stories is very important when you're putting together your presentation. How insurance can help your client, why insurance is such an amazing tool. You got to understand listening skills and appropriate responses, meaning how to respond to a customer when they're speaking. When someone's speaking, do you listen carefully, or are you just listening so that you can continue to talk on your own story? So the whole point of a powerful story is to give the customer a little bit of different range of why they should buy this product from you. Okay, powerful story is a big deal. Framework wise, I always use a story based on this. Is this something I was trained? Oh, John, you were trained on this too. It was basically broken down in these steps. I looked at framework where cash flow and retirement was important to me. Emergency fund is important to me. Proper insurance protection is important to me. Long-term savings is important to me, and preserving an estate was very important to me. So an IUL, believe it or not, can answer majority of these important topics that were very important to me. So the reason why I say that is you're going to have to create a framework in which you know that if the customer is asking, how do I solve proper protection? How do I solve long-term savings? How do I solve preserving my estate? You can refer that to the IUL and how it applies to solving this situation. So that's why it's very important when it comes to selling life insurance to have some sort of a framework that is going to guide you to the direction of selling the product you're trying to sell. And in this example, I'm always looking at IUL because I love permanent insurance versus temporary insurance. Okay. Next is in presentation flow is you got to have enticing solutions. Enticing solutions, and people don't pay attention to this enough. Enticing solutions is what would move me to put money into this program. Some of the big ones for me, number one, obviously, is protecting my family. But tax-free retirement is some for another. Legacy building, living benefits, that could be a big one for many, okay? Insurance you don't have to die to use, or even utilizing the power of a premium finance program. The bottom line is it has to be enticing enough that a person says, I want that. I'm enticed to want that. I want that for my family. I want that for my own protection. I want that for my legacy. That's what's enticing. Just saying, how much insurance do you want? That doesn't sound very enticing. Wouldn't you agree? If you're to say, well, do you qualify for $300,000? That doesn't sound very exciting to me. So what we could start you off is I'd love to put you into $1 million legacy program. So is $1 million sound about right, of which you would like to leave your inheritance to your family, at least from an insurance policy? Would $1 million sound good to you? Or is that not big enough? So how you communicate to your customer would also be a big factor of enticing them to that solution. So in other words, in communicating enticing solutions to your customer based on the type of value you're presenting to them, it's critical, okay? I call this proof. You have to have proof, and proof is what we call our illustration. An illustration is our version of showing proof that what we're saying has accuracy to it or has merit. That's what the illustration and why the illustration is so important. It's our proof. You learn how to utilize and build solid illustrations. If you're not good at illustrations, that's something you need to put into a plan of mastering in your craft. The ability to do solid illustrations so that you can present a value to your customer. You want to be able to show cash flow. You want to be able to show if a customer pays for 10 years and then stops and no more payment again, or show them 20 years and no payment. Show them how much they get on living benefits. But you show them this proof that gives them something to go, wow, this really could work. When I bought my first insurance policy, it was the illustration that sold me. Everything the person even said to me, I don't even remember. But I do remember that the illustration showed me an income. And I go, man, I'm going to get a tax-free income. I like that. That was all I needed. Sometimes the illustration is your close, believe it or not. So knowing how to do a proper and a solid illustration is a critical piece to moving on in the insurance process, okay? Next, you've got to have a call to action. This is a big deal. This is where most struggle because they could get in front of a customer, they could present the information, but they cannot get the person to take action. And so you got to be a master of transitions. Master of transitions, meaning how to get from one part of your presentation to the next with a direction. Like this simple line is something I've used for years, and it seems to always work for me. Let's go ahead and see if we could get you approved. That is I didn't ask her or him, do you want to try to get approved? Would you like to go in and see if and apply for the application? No, I didn't say that. I go, let's go ahead. The next step is let's go ahead and see if we can get you approved. Does that sound fair? and then let them have to say, no, they won't. If you are assumptive and you're not passive, you could be gentle, but still be direct. Okay. So when I'm sitting with a customer, I say, why don't we go ahead and do this? The next step in the process, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, is we're going to try to go and get you approved. Okay. So here's what I'm going to need from you. First, tell me a little bit about your health. Are you guys healthy? I go into questions. I don't even let them answer and say, yeah, I assume. We're going to go ahead and get you guys approved. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get you approved. And the reason why I want to explain that is I see a lot of agents do everything perfect. Then when it comes to call to action, that's where it sits. And then all we hear from they get home is the customer, they want to think about it. No, they don't want to think about it. You didn't have a call to action and you weren't assumptive enough to get them to move in that direction. Remember, they're never approved anyway until they go through underwriting. Is that right? They're not actually approved at all. So why don't we just do this? Why don't we try to get you approved? And then while you're going through approval, I can answer any questions, but we don't even know if this is even an option for you yet. So why don't we see if we can get you approved that you can get the tax-free income, or I can get you into the good rating, or I can get you living benefits. Sometimes if your health doesn't qualify, you may not even qualify for living benefits. So why don't we at least try to get you approved right now? Let's go and get you approved, and then we'll move forward. From there, we can always make different changes. We can even go another direction, or we could even stop it altogether at some later point. But let's at least try to get you approved, okay? So I'm gonna go and get that started. Boom. That's very assumptive, but it always works, okay? Call to action. Okay. Some people call it closing. I like it call to action. Okay. And to me, closing is an old word. Call to action is the way you got to do it. You got to take action, and you're the one leading that action. Most of the best ones that are selling in our company are amazing at call to action. The ones that don't sell that much, they don't have any call to action. They ask the customer, does that make sense? Would you like to buy this now? They say words that would turn a person off sometimes, or the customer directs them. What we're going to do is we're just going to think about it. And I said, that's great. You should think about it. But while you're thinking about it, it's not something to think about if you're not approved anyway. So why don't we just try to get you approved while you're thinking about it? And if it doesn't get approved, then we'll go another direction. You still want to work with me, correct? Very assumptive, right? So if you're assumptive and you're strong and you believe in your product and service, there's no reason why they won't move forward, because you're helping them go in that direction. Okay. So you could be gentle, but you still got to be direct. I think a lot of people, they feel my style could be a little bit more, more assumptive and a little bit strong, but I'm sorry, if you are going to buy anything, sometimes I want someone that's solid, knows his stuff, and is going to direct me. Even me, if someone was going to talk to me, I want a directed person, knows his stuff, is going to help guide me to the actions I need to take. Okay. And I'm telling you, in selling life insurance, there's no reason why you should feel passive, because they need this product and service. They need it. Okay. So call to action's big. Now, these are some of my favorite call to actions. I call it the paycheck, where you draw like a picture of a paycheck, and then you write down, this is taxes. This is your fixed expenses. This is your lifestyle. So let me ask you, a triplicate of choices. Which of this sounds like more your budget? 150, 300, or 500? Typically, they'll pick the middle. Just remember that, okay? But you always give them a choice. Don't say, how much would you like to put into the policy? I never do that. I say, which number sounds more comfortable for you? And they'll say 150, 300, or 500. That's called triplicate of choice. And typically, if you study triplicate of choice, people choose the middle. Now, if they choose the 150, that means I'm going to go, okay, 150 for you and your husband, so 150 each, is still end up 300. Does that make sense? So the bottom line, a triplicate of choice should get you around 3,000 points at a house. Okay, and I'm telling you, if you're guessing on that, it's because you just haven't settled with enough clients, and you're just not sure what a person's going to invest. If you're sitting with a customer, the right type of customer, husband, wife, married, own a home, have a job, have kids, all that, you're looking at about $300 a month, 150 each, pretty average. Should be pretty simple for them. Another one you could use is, what's the best day of the month for us to take the deduction from the insurance company? Like the 1st or the 15th? And just let them answer, okay? Or go through the DIME method. DIME is determining the death benefit of debts, income, mortgage, and education, determine the death benefit. But these are some of the things that I would use for call to action. So if I wanted someone to take action, I normally would lean on these type of plans so that I could kind of get to the answer I want. Now, a couple tips I'll give you before I get John on. I'm trying to go fast. Hopefully I'm not going too fast, you guys. I do have a meeting I need to go to, but I just want to go through this with you guys. First is the the sales process itself, I called it some agent tips. So if you could write these down, I'm going to go through this quick, but these are big. Number one, challenge of most insurance agents is lack of valuing time. Most people have a lot of unproductive and unrewarding time. They don't value time. It's very important in this phase of being an insurance agent, specifically with COVID and the way things are today. You got to be conscious of your choices, conscious of your balancing of your time and managing your time properly. An agent got to be good with time. Okay. So managing time, critical skill as an insurance agent. Another skill, you got to have clarity in your outcome. Ask yourself every single day when you wake up every day, what is the most important thing I'm going to do today for this business? What am I going to do? What is the most productive thing I will do today for my business? And get that done. What is your mission statement? Do you have a mission statement for your business? You know, mine was always inspire others to pursue their greatness. Always want to help inspire others so they can pursue the best version of themselves. Well, what is your mission statement to your business? Help protect others or educate and empower others. That's one of the things we always say in the office, educate and empower. What is your mission statement when you wake up every single morning? Clarity of your outcome. What are you going to do today that's going to get you to the results you need? You got to have clarity in your outcome. Third, prioritizing. What are the top 5 things you need to do? I'm talking important issues versus unimportant issues. Unimportant issues could be errands, basic stuff, groceries and things that you got to do every day, no matter what. You got to get milk, stuff like those are not that you're not thirsty. Okay. It's not a priority to get you to where you need to go for your business. So prospecting, meeting new people, your marketing plan, recruiting new agents in your organization or in your agency. How many presentations did you do? What are the top 5 things you're doing every single day? Have you done any prospecting, any meeting new people? It doesn't matter how much you learn about insurance. If you don't do the 5 things that'll get people in front of you, then you're just going to get all this information with no customers in front of you. So prioritizing prospecting might be a major factor if you don't have any people in front of you. Or maybe you're scared to make the calls because you're not confident about your product or service. Well, if you're not making the calls, you're not going to have any business. You're not going to have any business. It doesn't matter how much you learn about all these products, how much you learn about IUL, or how much you learn about needs analysis. That's all irrelevant because you don't have any prospects to meet anyway, right? So what are the priorities? You can't do one without the other. Is that right? You can't get all this knowledge of insurance if you have no knowledge of it getting any clients in front of you. I'm really good at recruiting agents, and from those recruiting, I'm able to get referrals from that. I'm also great at presenting. I love doing presentations to customers. I always feel, and maybe you should have this confidence as well, that if they're sitting in front of you, the odds are, 100% chance they're going to buy. And I'm going to say this to you honestly. I always say I have a 100% chance of someone buying. You know why? I only sell to people who want to buy. I don't sell people who don't want to buy. So I'm always 100%. I mean, if someone doesn't want to buy, I don't sell them. Someone wants to buy, I sell them 100%. Does that make sense? So confidence wise, I want to be 100% all the time. Okay. Priority. Also be careful as you are now in your own business and you're an entrepreneur, be careful your associations. You are who you associate with. You hang around, certain qualities, you may turn into them. You hang out around smokers, you might smoke. You hang around certain things that may bring you down. Hang around people who don't read books, you probably don't read books. Hang around guys who pursue excellence, you might pursue excellence. Hang around guys who prospect, you'll probably prospect. Hang around guys who do nothing, you'll do nothing. So your associations, be careful who you associate with at this stage, okay? The more successful that you become, remember this, the lonelier you will become because most won't relate anymore. The more successful you become, the lonelier you could become because people don't relate. When people don't relate, you'll become lonely. So don't be scared of success, but I'm telling you, success when it comes, you better have the right association so that when you do get to that point that you want to get to, you'll be around a crowd that's also understanding that process as well. Okay. Become an expert in your field. Be an expert if you're offering insurance or offering Medicare. If you're offering anything, if you're offering our green solar division or financial advisory, you could have one conversation with Thomas Bass in the advisory division, and he's an expert in his field. Become an expert in your field. Some people talk a good game and don't deliver. Be a person who talks a good game and delivers. Focus on the smallest details in business. How many calls were made? How many people you met with? How did the appointment go? What is your ratio when you meet with the customer? Out of 10 appointments, you pretty much sit down with 10. You end up having 5 submissions. How many people, how many out of 10 people, how many life insurance policies get open? How many people go to solar? How many people buy term insurance when we with you? Any of your 10 do premium finance? What are your details? Know your business. So you know when you're out there, you're going to get around the right market. What is the highest probability of sales when you are in the field? Is it better when you meet people that are married? Are you better when you meet people that are single? Are you better when you meet people that have a job? You be better with people who are making over 100,000 a year. What's your better market? But become an expert in your field is mastering your business in every aspect of it. Most people don't think about stuff like this. They just don't. They think it's going to get lucky. They're just going to get a phone call. Hey, let's call him. He needs insurance. Remember this. People don't know you're in insurance long enough. They don't even know that you even go to you yet. Correct? So it's very important to become an expert in your field. Your past. Well, I always heard the motto, your past does not equal your future. I remember that most of my life. But you ask yourself this question. What can you learn from your past? What could you use from the past to create a better future? Yeah, your past doesn't equal the future, but it can if you do the same thing you did before. But how do you learn from your past to create a better future for you tomorrow? So if where you are in terms of your sales business or insurance business or your entrepreneurial, your journey, if you like where you are, then continue to get better, you're going to be greater. But if you do not like where you are and you want to be much greater, what could you learn from the past that you kept repeating that you could change, that you could create a better future in that same direction? So you're only going to get better in the future. Does that make sense? So your past could be a huge benefit if you learn from that past to create a better future for your future. Okay. Embrace the tools that are out there. My goodness, half of the stuff that you guys are able to utilize today didn't even exist. Back in our day, it was paper applications. You guys have e-app. Back in our day, there was no running illustrations from your cell phone. Yeah, right. There wasn't underwriting, communicating with your underwriter from a phone app like Columbus Life. Give me a break. All that was a mess. Today, people just still don't embrace the tools. These tools are built for efficiency. Some old school things work too, though. Like I still like handwritten letters. I still think that sounds, to me, that means more. If I handwrite a letter to a customer or I handwrite something, it's not always about, technology. Sometimes you give them an email. Yeah, it doesn't sound as personal than when you write a letter. Remember when you guys were kids, if you guys are in high school, remember when your girlfriend writes you a letter, how much more that meant versus if I printed out her email, it wouldn't have the same effect, right? Big difference. So some old school tools work too, even with customers. Nothing wrong with reciprocation, buying your customer a book, buying your customer a Starbucks card, or keeping them around. Those are still old school tactics or tools. Yes, use them, but embrace modern technology, social media. Some people don't even have a CRM or some way to communicate with their customers, update their customers. What tools do you use for efficiency? Outside of what the insurance company provides you, what do you do outside of that? Do you have a system where you're communicating with your field on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or maybe an email distribution list that gets information from you because you're giving them updates and information? If you're not doing that, you're behind the 8 ball of other agents out there that are out there sending those to their customers. So you're not taking advantage of the tools and efficiency available today. So that's a very big deal, okay? I also call it be a rhino in the next few months, as you guys have learned a lot during this process. Have thick skin. Don't be scared of rejection. Don't let rejection bother you. Don't let rejection hold you down. Don't let rejection stop you from what you're doing. Some people, they get rejected, they're out. Some people, they get rejected, they get excited. They get ready for the next one. Embrace rejection. There is no success without rejection. Failure is nothing more than a perception. It's a perspective of how you look at something. Okay, so be a rhino, have thick skin, and move forward like that. Almost done, you guys. Recognition. Always remember when you're talking to a customer, make the customer feel important and knowledgeable. Don't ever try to talk over them or make them seem like you know more than them so much. Now, it's good that you know information about being an insurance agent and their product and services, but if you act like a know-it-all and you're constantly putting them down, like, oh, no, that's not correct, or, oh, no, I know more than you, or you're just sounding, like you've got an ego, compliment them, smile more, make them feel good. When they say a topic, oh my gosh, that's great that you know that. I'm impressed with that. That's amazing. Most customers, they never even mentioned that to me. Compliment. People like people who make them feel good. So I call it recognition. Is most people working at a job or working at some company, they don't get any type of recognition. A compliment is recognition. You're recognizing someone's intelligence, recognizing someone's what they learned or perspective. That makes them like you, makes them feel good. And when they feel good and when they like you, the odds are they're going to want to work with you. Okay. And the last one for me is be hungry. Hungry to learn more, hungry to build more, hungry to earn more, save more, become more, and give more. You got to be hungry. Don't get so full or so relaxed that you lose that hunger that's inside of you. Okay, that hunger is everything. That's what changes everything. Is how hungry you are in your business and what you do. Last slide I'll show you is this is just kind of the bottom line. You shouldn't have a longer presentation on going through the presentation longer than 25 minutes max, on my opinion. Use the how money works presentation, know your outcome, and learn how you're going to transition. And make sure you really focus on how to utilize the needs analysis. So John, I'm going to go and hand it over to you. Hopefully that wasn't too fast or too slow. Was that good enough?
No, man, that was amazing. That was really good. You gave people a lot of framework, a lot of ideas what they need to do to master everything and really master their craft, like you said. So no, awesome, Jeff. Okay, so yeah, we're going to go over the personal financial checkup, guys. But I just want to capture a couple of things that Jeff was touching on here. It's really about mastering your craft, right? We're out there, you're out there making presentations, you're talking to clients, you're submitting apps, you're doing things like that. But are you running into the same roadblocks? Are you running the same thing? Are you just well, maybe I'll work harder, I'll do more, but you're still not getting the result you want? Then what's happening is you're trying to do the same thing over and over again. You're not improving yourself. You're not improving your skills and bringing mastered skills to the marketplace, right? And that's why you're not able to convert sometimes, and you're just doing the same thing over and over again, which is expecting a different result, which is considered insanity, right? So Jeff touched on some really great things. I like to call the things you want to focus on in your business. What time and day, or what are you categorizing in your day to work on your business, not just in your business? How are you working to improve yourself, improve your skill set, improve your craft? We can talk about the 5 Ps. He touched on a lot of these, right? But the first one's personal development, professional development. What are you doing to professionally master your craft on how you're presenting, how you're looking, what you're bringing to the table? And then a lot of the tools that he talked about there. That's the first one, professional development. And then your presentation skills. How are you talking to people? What are you saying? How are you transitioning? What are you bringing with you for your presentation? So you have your professional development, your presentation skills, and then your paperwork. I mean, sometimes the agents, I know, Jeff, I've seen agents, they're nervous to bring out the paperwork because they're not comfortable with the paperwork or how to fill it out, because they haven't done it in a while, or they're just not comfortable with it. So get good at the paperwork, right? Understand the paperwork. If you're not doing the paperwork, you're not writing an application. You're not even trying to get them approved, right? So the paperwork's a big deal. And then you're understanding your pay plan. How do you get paid? How do you do it? What do you do? Things like that. So your professional development, your sorry, I lost my train of thought. Your professional development, your presentations, your prospecting. That's the one I forgot. I knew there was one I forgot. Professional development, your prospecting, when you're out there talking to people, getting in front of people, then your presentation, then your paperwork, and understanding how you get paid and work. Those are the areas you want to work on in your business to really master your craft, right? So Jeff, thank you so much. As we wrap up this month, we're going to jump into, this is in the back office at iLeverage. You go to iLeverage.com, go under business resources and downloads, and you can download this, and you should be carrying this, a nice colored version with you to gather information. Once you've gone through your presentation or interest, let's go ahead and get you approved. In order to do that, I just need to ask you a few questions. I hope you don't mind, right? And there you kind of roll into that. This is just the cover page of it. We can roll forward here. So you got, we'll just go through this section by section, client information. All right, so basics, guys, basics, client name. So, you may know their name, but say just how I kind of roll into this always. So what's so I'll put my pen to paper and say, so what's the correct spelling on your name? You always want to make sure you get that right. You don't want to, just make sure you get the correct spelling. Just say, hey, so what's the correct spelling? You just start writing. Name, date of birth, annual income, just your gross annual income ballpark there. Are there any other income sources you have? Commissions, dividends, child support, anything else that you have that you might be coming in addition to your regular income per year? Basics here: street address, phone number of kids. Don't forget to ask number of kids and about how old are they, right? Address. And now we shift into goals. So let's talk about some of your goals for your family from a financial aspect. Are there any college funds? Is that something important to you? Have you started a college plan yet? Obviously, you guys, if they're an older couple, their kids have moved out of the house, be situationally aware who you're talking to, right? If they've already just told you that they have no kids, then obviously you're skipping that question. I mean, be situationally aware. It makes you look kind of lame, honestly, if they just told you they have no children. Your next question is, do you have college funds? Do you need college funds? Okay. Any vacations, or what fun stuff do you have planned? What are your next 1 year to 5 years, or your long-term goals? Any type of career, business goals there, other goals? How about retirement? What age are you thinking about retiring? What are you planning for there? What do you have going on for savings there? How about a legacy that you're leaving for your family? That type of stuff. Any big vacations, travel plans, things like that. Dreams, guys, get them dreaming here. Spend a little time on that. Get them dreaming here a little bit. Get them talking about some of that stuff, those goals, and be, like Jeff said, connect with them, be excited about them, and build them up. Okay, and we talk about the principle of building wealth, right? In the protection phase, in the early years, you're still building assets. You don't have, if something were to happen, you were to die prematurely, like the example that Jeff talked about, got hit by the truck, and you didn't quite make it to the end. Then what is going to happen to your family in that case? And then later on, what are you doing to preserve all of that hard work and pass it on and leave a legacy? So that's the principle of building wealth. Master that conversation. Income. Okay, so you're going to get your total household income. You touched on maybe a ballpark gross at the top of the page, but then you're going to look here at the total net income. And just break down some expenses here. So what are you paying for mortgage or rent, car payments? This is where you can touch back on dreams. If they're renting right now, you ever thought about purchasing or owning a home? Is that a goal or a dream of yours? Get them talking. Car payments, credit cards, food, clothing, utilities. What do you spend approximately monthly on that? Personal expenses. What you guys like to eat out a lot, entertainment, things like that. Stuff like that. Gas, other expenses, gas and cable, right? So gas is a crazy one. But you might even just put other expenses, under utilities there. Electric, you can always, you guys know what we do. We got our green division. You might just put a mental note there, a little note on yours that says on utilities. So how's your electricity bill? Just kind of, don't bring up anything else. Just get a note of it. If it's, in the 200, 300, 400, 500 or more range, that's something you can come back around to, right? That's found money. If we shift that conversation to solar at a later time. Personal expenses, other expenses, that type of stuff. What do they got going on for insurances? Auto, life. Okay, you can kind of find out if they have anything else going on there for life insurance, home, health. So you got your total money in the left column and your total money out. Okay. And then you're kind of finding what is the discretionary income they got there. That may be eye-opening for them. Who knows? If we go to assets over here, so estimated home value, if they are the homeowner, where they got approximately mutual fund stocks. This is so we can design a customized proposal that meets your financial needs, that fits your financial situation and your goals and plans, right? Approximately checking account, saving account, retirement plans, any cash value type life insurance. What do you have approximately there? Or anything else we've left out or forgotten. You guys have any gold stashed under the mattress? Stuff like that. On the liabilities. Okay, that's assets, liabilities. You've got an estimated value on the house, but then you got a liability against the house. Might be a mortgage, a second mortgage. What are you doing on property taxes? Future educational expenses. credit cards, again, loan balances, student loans, any personal. So you're just gathering information, getting a good picture of what they're doing, right? So let me flip the page here. The next page kind of talks about, this is our three buckets, right? Tax now, tax later, tax advantage. A lot of people, so we kind of line up their assets here in these pages. So if the tax nows might be their bank accounts or CDs, things like that, okay? And you're going to put that there. Tax later would be their IRAs, their 401ks, anything that's tax deferred. And most people are not going to have anything over in the tax advantage or tax-free income, which opens a great conversation for you, right? And so you're just going to put this down generally. So you show them, look, there's only three ways our money is looked at from a tax aspect. You're either fully taxed now, you're taxed later through deferral, or it's tax advantage where you can build up a tax-free income. These are like your Roth IRAs and that type of thing, okay? And certain insurance policies. So you can just kind of plant seeds as you're gathering this. And just kind of go through your questions here. Do you have life insurance? Yes or no? You're being the doctor here. You're being the nurse. You're kind of just taking down information. This is not really so much the time to sell as it is just to ask questions, write notes, connect with them, make it kind of conversational, not interrogation, right? But do you have life insurance? Yes or no? Does your spouse have? Do you have health? How about the kids? And do you have any other type of coverage? What type might that be? Hey, is life insurance important to you? Yes or no? You know, do you find you have enough protection? Do you feel you have enough protection? You know, in case any of the main income earner weren't around. Sorry, I'm struggling with my eyes here a little bit. Do you currently have an emergency fund? Right? These are you're opening up some questions and dialogue with them about what they're doing as far as making sure they're covered in these other areas, so they're not always dipping in their long-term money. So you have a 401k, IRA, any CDs? How's it doing? How's it doing in this economic environment? What age do you plan on retiring? So don't miss all this stuff, you guys. Will you be able to reach your retirement goals on your current plan? Most people are behind on their plan, right? They got knocked back 10 years ago at the last recession, or with the pandemic, they got knocked backwards a little bit on their current plan. Do you have are your kids planning to attend college? Anyone in the next 10 years? Do you have income that will it be increasing over the next 5 years? How are you doing? Okay, and don't miss this bottom question here. This is what Jeff was alluding to earlier on the triplicate of choice. It's right here on your data collection form. Read this, right? How much could you comfortably afford to set aside each month to reach your goals? 100, 200, 300 a month, right? You said 150, 300, 500. Other, okay? Ask that question, and that's why up here at the top of the previous page, where was it? At the top of the previous page, on this page is sideways now, we talked about their dreams and goals. I spent some time on that so that when I get over here, we've already touched on that. How much can you comfortably afford to set aside each month to help you achieve those goals? And I'm kind of pointing back to those goals that we wrote down, right? Is it 100? Is it 200? Is it 150, 300, 500, or what, right? What can we do? So that's where you're just trying to, and then we're going to gather that information and go ahead and put it together. Oops, we went upside down there, didn't we? Put it together for you when we come back, right? And when we come back, we'll be talking about, there's 4 stages. This whole data gathering form is based on 4 stages of your money, right? Managing your money wisely, making sure that we're controlling our escalating expenses. Hey guys, what's an escalating expense that we're aware of besides, debts, credit cards, things like that? How about your energy bill? Is that an escalating expense? Don't spend more than you make. Manage your debt, create an emergency fund, set the financial goals. So what we're going to do is come back and put together a proposal for you that may touch on all these different areas: protecting your family, insurance for death, but not just for death, heart attack, cancer, stroke, living benefit, to be able to cover those areas for you. Accumulation. Okay, what are the 4 enemies of accumulation? What's held you back? What's really kind of why are we behind maybe on our plan, on our goals for retirement over with what's going on economically? Is it inflation, taxes? Maybe we put it off a little bit. Maybe life happened along the way and we kept saying, oh, we'll get to it. But then, a couple of 5-year blinks later, it's 15 years later, right? Risk, we lost some in the markets, different things like that. And then preserving your legacy. We work hard for our money. So let's put together and make sure we can plan that all together for you. And when we come back around together, you guys, we are going to be able to help you to see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then we can make some adjustments or make a different decision. Okay, so you guys, that's our data gathering form. You should have this with you. We can post it on Slack. It is in our iLeverage back office. Okay, and it looks like this on the front cover sheet. Personal financial checkup, right? And it's a great tool to go back to past clients with. And you should be doing a personal financial checkup for them once they become a client. Once you've gotten them protected, got them into a savings program. Go back once a year. You're gonna get the annual updates from the insurance companies if you wrote some of those products. So go back, touch in with them, and hey, it's time for your annual review. Okay, and maintain that relationship. You'll get referrals. They'll appreciate the follow up. You weren't just you weren't just a one-off. See you later. Sold you. See ya. Right, but you really did care. You really did want to make a difference, and you really did follow up with them. So that's, I think, a lot of will set you apart, along with all the tools that that Jeff was sharing with you as far as mastering your craft. So guys, that's it for today. We were a solid 45 minutes on this training today. So hopefully you got a lot of good stuff. I know there's a lot of meat on it. Make sure you're mastering that craft, touching on all the, go back and review this. It was recorded, and hopefully you got everything we need from it. So we'll make it a great day, you guys. It's we're pushing towards the end of the week, and feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help. Thanks, everybody.